Louis Brandeis, the people's attorney, was a liberal Jewish lawyer who pioneered a new way of changing the ills of society during the Progressive Era. Contrary to the strikers and radicals who revolutionized the Gilded Age, reformers in the Progressive Era were educated men who used their knowledge and skills to influence change on society. Brandeis used organized research of economic, sociologic, and historical information to support legal propositions. His system of collecting information to bring about legal change is known as the Brandeis Brief, and is still used by lawyers today.
Louis Brandeis was disgusted with the excess wealth, social disarray, and economic disparity of the early 20th century. He published The Other People's Money and How the Bankers Use It, where he expressed his anti-monopoly views and support of democracy. Brandeis spent a large amount of his career on cases having to do with the U.S. Constitution. On the issue of freedom of speech, he believed penalties on speech must be applied only if they meant clear and present danger. He supported individual liberties and was a stern believer in a citizen's right to privacy. Brandeis argued the makers of the Constitution granted citizens the right to be left alone, the right most valued by civilized men. Brandeis acknowledged workers' hardships and justified their reasons for strikes and rebellion as basic rights in the Constitution.
In an era when laborers worked countless hours under wretched conditions, this Harvard Law graduate was among the first politicians to give the pained workers a voice. He strove to establish minimum wage, protect trade unions, and regulate working hours. He even did so much as offer life insurance at prices the working man could afford. Brandeis was especially interested in protecting the rights of women in the workplace. In the 1908 U.S. Supreme Court case of Muller v. Oregon, business owner Kurt Muller required a female laborer to work more than the state maximum of 10 hours a day. Brandeis defended the state and argued women needed special protection in the workplace. Using his systematic gathering of information, he outlined data on the negative effects of long working hours on both women and men, but focused particularly on women's dependent and biologically reproductive roles as opposed to economic issues. He and the court ultimately concluded that a woman is placed in a class by herself, and legislation designed for her protection may be sustained. This idea of women's rights was unprecedented until the Progressive Era.
Brandeis was a Zionist, and his liberal views on society and religion gave him the reputation as a radical at the time. Ridiculed mostly by anti-Semitists, conservatives, and even former President Taft, President Woodrow Wilson knew that Brandeis was a genuine, honest man who committed himself to helping the public. For this reason, he found Brandeis overly qualified for the position of Supreme Court Justice and appointed him in it as the first Jew in the Supreme Court in 1916.